Welcome back. Before we dive into this lesson, my cat Guinevere is being a little extra chatty today. She's not getting the attention that she wants and deserves, so you may hear her going off in the background. All right, in this lesson, we're going to cover the goals of a website and help you narrow down your website's specific goals. The first goal of your website is to tell people who you are, what problem you can solve for them, and to convince them that you or your offer is the thing they need to solve it. You can't just show photos of your work or product and call it good. That doesn't connect with potential clients, nor does it explain to them why your offer is the one they should choose. This is where copywriting comes in. Remember the first lesson in this module? Let's use my website as an example. The banner text on my homepage connects to my target audience, millennials and Gen Z, aspiring to start a business. Now, as I mentioned in the last lesson, my tagline has since changed. I also changed the banner image. I felt like the statistic doesn't connect with my audience as much as another tagline would. I really like the statistic. I think it's fascinating, but I thought I could do better. So I switched it up. I changed the banner. This was me in my studio, which I no longer have. So I decided to switch the banner to a picture of me and my VW Bug, which is the basis of my brand, Miss Megabug. So I like that because I'm no longer in my studio and it ties in my Megabug. And the new tagline is Get in Winter, We're Starting Your Dream Business, which is a little allusion to Mean Girls, and they drive in a car in that scene. So I like the parallels. And then underneath that main tagline, there's a sub tagline that reads, No business sense, no problem. That's what I'm here for. The goal of this catchy tagline is to pique your viewers' interest and build connection. Note that the very first line of my tagline uses the word your. By turning the focus on your ideal customer, they'll feel like you're talking directly to them and that you're having a conversation. You want your website copy to include more yous than I's, even on your about page, which we'll go over later. Along with copy, you want to incorporate a journey on your website, one that leads potential clients to the end result of working with you. The purpose of your homepage is to initiate this journey. The ideal customer journey is homepage, about page, offer page, contact page. If you include contact information or a link to your contact page on your homepage, include it lower on the page because most of your potential clients won't know if they're ready to work with you yet. So your prime real estate should be reserved for building connection. Let's go through the client journey on my website. On my homepage, there are two journeys, a full version and a shortcut. If a client takes the full version, they'll land on my website and continue scrolling past my banner image, my e-newsletter subscribe box, and then they'll land on this About Teaser section. If we've never met, they likely need to learn more about me before committing to working with me, especially if they wanted to hire me for website design. But even with online courses, I like to know the teaching style and the personality of the person I'm going to be learning with. That's why I have a brief about me towards the top of my homepage here. It captures a bit of my fun, optimistic personality with lover of cats, roller skating, and VW bugs. But instead of launching into my resume, I make the case for why it's the right time for millennials to start their dream business. Now, this did tie into my previous tagline, but I still left it here because I think we do need a little bit of a push to get started. It can be so debilitating trying to start a business, and if you have a little bit of stats behind you, then I think that can help. And then I also shift it into, but yeah, starting a business is hard. And then down here, this is the next step of the client journey. If they click read the full story, they'll be brought to my about page. Notice how the top section connects with my target audience. Then I add further connection points by sharing my interests before I dive into my story. My business story starts with a focus on me, and then it shifts to how I can help others. And these links bring you to the next step of the client journey. Let's click on our Looking for Business and Marketing How-Tos laid out step-by-step tutorial style. This brings a viewer to my Debug Your Business membership sales page. Now we're 3 steps in, and this is where they first learn about my offer. By this point, they know more about me, what I do, and why I do it. Thus, they are more likely to know whether they want to work with me as a person or not. On my membership sales page, they'll learn more about what's included in Debug Your Business. Now, the final step of the journey is the sale. So they can become a member of Debug Your Business by heading down to the bottom and selecting their membership subscription. There's monthly, yearly, and then lifetime. Now, another option, instead of requiring your website viewers to scroll all the way down, is to include what's called an anchor. So an anchor would be a link. So it could be a button, it could be a text link, and you can include it anywhere on the page. Let's say you wanted to include it, or if I wanted to include it here. So instead of having people scroll all the way down, they would click this button that says enroll now, and the button being an anchor would bring them all the way down to this section. I'm on the fence of if I want to add back anchors or not. I did have anchors on my previous website on these pages, but I don't know. It's tough because on the one hand, you want people to see the value in your offer before they see the price. But then on the other hand, if somebody just wants to see the price or they're ready to sign up, it can be annoying to scroll all the way through. So something to keep in mind for your website, something I'm still contemplating for mine. So maybe if you visit my website a little later, it might have anchors. We'll see. But let's say you offer a service instead of a product. So this is my website design page, which is still live on my website, but no longer linked in my navigation because I only design a limited number of websites per year, which is why I have this little page, this little section. When someone lands on this page, or I send them the direct link, they first see a series of statements meant to connect with their pain points and how they're feeling. This is reiterated in the next section, which helps them visualize the solution. Then I share a bit about the process, and I include an intake form here. This allows me to understand what my potential clients are looking for so I can determine if they're a good fit and send an accurate proposal. This saves me so much back and forth in the beginning. I can also gain a sense of if our personalities align and if they would be a client that I would want to work with. I highly recommend getting to know as much about your potential clients as possible, and if they're unwilling to fill out your form, it can be a sign that they'd be difficult to work with. Now, if my website visitor skipped over this intake form, and they continued scrolling, they can review my portfolio and get a sense of my pricing. Now, there is a huge debate in the business world on whether you should make your pricing public or not. I believe that your pricing should be public. It saves everyone's time. People are less likely to reach out to you if they have no idea what your ballpark rate is, but also you're likely to receive inquiries from many people who are not at your price point. Instead of spending time with a free consult and sending a proposal only for the potential client to say that you're out of their budget, you're more likely to get quality leads. Further down on this page, I have an FAQ section as well as another intake form, which is a duplicate of the one above. So that's the long version of a client journey. I used to link to website design in my About page, but because this page is no longer in my navigation, I don't do that, but you get the gist. Let's cover the shortcut client journey. Scrolling past my main banner section, I have even more connection points. And then there's this section, which is the shortcut. So this is a little summary of my offers. New to business leads you to Begin Your Business, my online course, and Want to Work for Yourself would lead you to Self-Employed School. If you have multiple offers or target audiences, you can expand the strategy by having a column. Typically 3 columns or fewer is best. I like 3. There is something psychological about odd numbers, and 3 is a good amount. It's not overwhelming. But anyway, each column would include a brief description geared towards connecting with your visitor, then a button that leads them to the service page where they can learn more. For example, if you offer skincare services, you can have a column for acne, anti-aging, and general maintenance. Back to my client journey, by clicking either of these buttons, my website visitor is led to the next step of the client journey, my sales page. Let's go to the Self-Employed School sales page, which you're probably familiar with. So on this sales page, you don't get to my About page. You completely skip over that step. That's why this is the shortcut version. And this is also why I include a little section about me because I think it's still important when you are working with someone, if you offer a service or if you're teaching a course like I am, it's still important to share a little bit about yourself. It's a connection point, and again, people want to know who they're going to work with or learn from. There is an option to have a client journey that's even quicker than this. It's even more direct. So for example, if you sell products, you can include a carousel of your top selling or popular products for the season with purchase buttons. When someone clicks purchase, you can have it set up that a light box appears with additional information on the product and variations available, such as size and color. Your website visitor can then add the item to cart without leaving your home page. Once the item is in their cart, the light box would disappear and they're back to viewing the home page. If you offer appointment-based services, you can include a booking link or widget on your homepage as well. This is helpful for repeat customers or those fabulous people who are ready to commit then and there. So have a few different client journeys of different lengths. The first one is the ideal one because it really helps people get a sense of you, your business, what's included in your offer, who you are, so they're more committed to buy by the time they get to that sales page. But again, some people are just ready to commit now, so having shortcut and direct versions are helpful too. So that's the first goal of your website, to tell people who you are, what problem you can solve for them, and convince them that you or your offer is the thing they need to solve it, and in turn, make sales. Now, unfortunately, 92% of first-time website visitors do not make a purchase. This is why it's essential to have an email list and encourage your website visitors to sign up, which is the second goal of your website. Back to the direct client journey option, I used to have Begin Your Business as a lead magnet, meaning I didn't make money on it. People would enroll in Begin Your Business and I would add them to my email list. So I have a resource linked back on the lesson page that explains why I shifted Begin Your Business to a paid course. But anyway, the premise, the reason why I initially had it for free is because Begin Your Business would lead people to my email newsletter where I could continue communicating with them because, again, 92% of first-time website visitors do not make a purchase, and hopefully after they've read through my email newsletter, they felt more of a connection with me, they saw more value in my offers, then they would purchase. What I do now is include an e-newsletter subscribe form in the footer of my website, and I created a separate subscribe page as well. I did have these on my website even before I shifted Begin Your Business away from a lead magnet, but those are the primary ways that I get people to subscribe because I now value people who want to be on my list. I don't want to just plop them on my list. I feel like we receive so many emails and I don't want people to be irritated. I don't want them to have an impression of my business where they're frustrated by all the emails I send them. They feel like they were coerced onto my list. I just want people who genuinely want to be on my list to be on my list. So another option for subtly getting people to subscribe to your email newsletter list is to link to your separate subscribe page in your email signature, have forms embedded in your blog posts, etc. So there's nothing wrong with giving people opportunities to sign up for your list, but I'm a little on the fence about lead magnets. We do have a lesson dedicated to lead magnets later on in this module. We'll cover this a little more in there. Pop-ups are another option, but I also decided to remove mine. I've linked to a reel that explains why back on the lesson page. So I've made a lot of decisions. I've really been reflecting on promotion in terms of email newsletter, and we'll get into that more later. So to recap, the second goal of your website is to capture a visitor's name and email address so you can add them to your email newsletter. And you don't have to be sleazy or misleading to do that. Finally, the third goal of your website is to build search engine optimization, SEO, so you can be found on Google. We've alluded to SEO before, but let's officially define it. A search engine allows you to browse the internet. Google is the most popular search engine. Optimize means to make effective, so search engine optimization is the strategies used to increase the amount of visitors on your website by making sure it appears as close to the top of related search results as possible. Boosting your SEO is a big to-do up front, but it makes a huge difference. Blogging is the best way to maintain your SEO after the fact, as you can embed keywords, links to pages on your site, and backlinks very easily. I've linked to a formula in my Debug Your Business membership that walks you through how to optimize your website, tutorials included. Now let's talk about your specific goals. Reflect on the following. How can your website make your life easier? By communicating what you do, you'll reduce back and forth with potential clients and customers, thus saving you time, which is what I did on my website design page with my intake form. How can your website generate you more business? Attract more clients through SEO, allow people to book an appointment with you online, or purchase goods. And what features does your website need right now? E-commerce, online booking, blog, restaurant menus, or online ordering, etc. This will help you determine the platform you go with, but note that you can embed things like online booking forms from other platforms. For example, I designed a website for an esthetician on Squarespace. She used Square as her online booking platform, and I copied the code from Square and embedded it on her Squarespace website. This is easier than it sounds. You're literally just copy pasting, and Square is different than Squarespace. This is a common misconception. Also, I use Flowdesk as my email newsletter platform. I created my opt-in forms on Flowdesk and embedded them on my Squarespace website. So basically, if your website platform of choice can't do everything, you still have options. Now, if you want to sell things on your website, do extensive research on the e-commerce capabilities of the platforms you're considering. Squarespace, for example, doesn't offer as many variation options as Shopify. But honestly, I cannot stand Shopify. It is so complicated to customize the design. So I would recommend using Square as your point of sale system and creating the e-commerce portion of your website on Square and linking it to your main Squarespace website. To continue, reflect on your future needs. Your website doesn't have to be perfect to start, but you should choose your platform based on your end goal. Make sure that your platform can grow with you and meet your future needs. A few other things to consider. If you're an appointment-based business, it's a good idea to have an online booking platform. If you're a creative entrepreneur, your website will likely need a portfolio of images that displays your work and perhaps an online booking option. Or maybe you want to display logos of the companies you've worked with. If you're a brick and mortar business or marketer and maker and want to sell online, you'll need e-commerce abilities. Maybe you're an educator like me, or writing is one of your strengths, so a blog is a good fit. Or perhaps you want your contact information front and center so people know how to reach you. For some businesses, this makes sense. In the next lesson, we're going to cover the process of designing a website. I'll see you there.